morning we're speaking with Bob Caporale, who is the author of the newest book, Creative Strategy Generation. This is how using passion and creativity to compose business strategies that inspire action and growth. And I love this book, Mr. Caporale. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell our listening audience, what exactly are you, and give them a little bit of background about yourself, because you're an amazing human being here.
Oh, thank you. Well, sure. My background is that I'm a musician and a composer. I've been doing that for the last, 25, 30 years of my life. And it started out as something probably a little bit more serious than it ended up as. I really had a dream of being, a professional musician, professional composer, but got into the business world and was successful at that as well, but never gave up that dream of music. So I continued to do songwriting, composing on the side, was able to release some independent albums, write a musical, do some other things, mostly as a hobby, but also getting into some professional areas too, some soundtrack work and things like that.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that in business, I was successful at developing strategies and had a lot of success in my career in that. And I started to try and analyze that process. What was it that was connecting with me? And it was because I was using the same process that I was using to compose music, using this creative process and applying it into business. And I started teaching that to other people, and that's kind of how the book came about.
Ah, very good. And how do you go about doing that? What relates? How does you take music and use that to help you, your mind kind of, with all of the noise around us today and everything's so immediate and social media, it's a good thing, but there's so much, you know what I mean? Like outside noise. How can you take what you're doing and utilize that in a way that gives you fresh ideas and makes you more productive?
Yeah, sure. So that's really the core of the book, because what I found in business is that a lot of people are looking to fill in templates. They look to some of the business books to give them a guide on exactly what data to put where, and they end up, especially in their strategic planning process, they end up filling in the blanks. And what's missing from that a lot of times is using your intuition, using your gut, right? And really just trying to find your own creativity, put your own unique spin onto things. And a lot of times we'll look at big companies that have done it well and try and analyze it after it's been done and then imitate it, and that doesn't work because it's already been done.
Right.
So the whole premise of the book is how do you go ahead and find your own creativity and find your own ideas? And that's really where this music correlation comes into place, because in music you're working with a foundation of knowledge, but what you're doing is you're applying your inspiration, you're applying some feeling that you want to get across, and you're using your foundational knowledge to create something unique to get that feeling across. And if you can get that mindset in business, then you're going to be very successful, and that's basically what I'm trying to get across.
It's all about originality, I think. If you can come up with, those are the ideas that, especially in music, you come up with an original idea, and maybe somehow or another it connects to other people. They've had that feeling, or they can recall an experience through that. It's a hit. It's usually a hit. So is that kind of where is bringing up more original ideas out of your own mind?
It is, but that's one part of it, and there's another very important part of it that I think a lot of people overlook, particularly in business, which is it's not just about coming up with original ideas, but it's coming up with original ideas that connect with another person.
Right on.
And so even musicians will suffer from this sometimes. Is like we write music that we want to hear, right, or that we want to perform. But if it's not something that somebody else is interested in or somebody else cares about, then okay, it might be good for us, but it's not going to be successful as far as commercially successful or a popular type of a song. And businesses suffer from the same things. If they do things for themselves, they have original ideas that they think would be cool, or that they think would make more money, or that they're capable of doing. Well, if it's something that customers don't care about or that doesn't solve a customer problem, then it's not going to have commercial success. So there's a lot of similarities there, and unfortunately, businesses don't always think about that. A lot of times they do things for themselves, and those things don't always succeed.
So what do you think the 4 skills are that you need to maximize your creativity?
So in the book, I talk about, first of all, the process, right? Because a lot of people want to know the creative process. So I've created that, and it's a 7-step process. But I say before you jump into that process, you also have to work on some skills, and I call them proficiencies. Number one, to kind of enhance that musical analogy, but also because a proficiency is a skill that you've mastered. So I really want people to master these skills. And basically these skills that I outline are called, it's an acronym, ARIA. So again, playing into the music thing.
Yeah.
And it's analysis, recollection, intuition, and artistry.
Ah.
And essentially what those skills relate to are the 4 strategic questions that you need to ask yourself, which is where are we now, where have we been, where are we going, and how are we going to get there? So by applying each of those skills to each one of those questions, now you get your mindset in the right place to actually go ahead and go through the creative process.
Excellent. I've always thought of myself as being very musical. I started singing at a very young age, and playing the organ, and then onto the piano. And I took a myriad of different music theory classes, and I currently sing in a band. I'm on the radio I do radio, and all my life I've been musical, and I love, that's what draws me. I'm just drawn to music. So for those people that may not be maybe they're more number people, or maybe they're not as drawn to music as some of us are. Is this going to be a hard process for them?
It's an interesting question that you asked, because as I was going through the kind of edits of the book, and I was giving it to some people that I know and colleagues and that type of thing, there were people that asked that same question. Well, I'm not musical. Am I going to connect to it? I said, well, read it and let me know. And every one of them came back and said, wow, this is incredible, because you don't have to be a musician to understand it. It really, I use music as the analogy because most people can understand it. Most people enjoy music. Mm-hmm. But really, anybody who's ever created anything can appreciate the process, because it really is about getting something out of your head and into the real world and connecting it with somebody. And we do that in music, in art, and in business if we do it right. So it really is something that can be broadly applied.
Something I wanted to touch on, too, if I may. You are such an influencer and a problem solver. Some of the, general management and product management, engineering, marketing for multi-billion-dollar companies you've been involved with. What does it take to do that? How do you do that? Or what does it do? I guess, what does it take to catapult a group to success by being an influencer and a problem solver?
The way that I've always approached it, there's a couple things that people want. I guess the first thing, the easiest answer that I can give to that is, as a leader, I always try and lead people the way that I want to be led. And again, it sounds like one of those obvious things, but it's interesting when you get into really the business world. Sometimes you fall into these traps of leading the way you've seen other people lead, or the way you think you should lead, rather than the way you would want to be led. And the way I want to be led is a couple things. First of all, I want to be trusted. Mm-hmm. Right? So I want people to entrust me with the knowledge I have and the skills that I bring and those types of things. And then the other thing I want is to be communicated with. I want to really understand what the end goal is, so that I can contribute creatively to coming up with some solution to that. So when I'm kind of leading either strategies or trying to influence any business problem, those are really two of the rules that I try and stick by, is really entrusting people and then giving them the big picture of what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And I find that basically gives people accountability. It gives people a reason for doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
And then they contribute to things that you would never think that anybody would contribute to, and all of a sudden things start to come to life. So that's kind of off the top of my head some of the ways that I do it.
Would you say by doing that you kind of get their buy-in then, or their or not? Is that a wrong?
You do, because you want people to be invested in what it is that they're trying to accomplish. I shouldn't say nobody, but most people don't want to be told what to do.
No,
they actually want to, even if they want direction, they generally want to have some influence on it. They want to have some of themselves reflected in the end result. And so when you allow that and you enable that, you're going to get better results, and you're going to get a lot more expertise involved as well, which is going to make the end result that much better.
Again, we're speaking with Bob Caporale. He is the author of Creative Strategy Generation, and it's all about using passion and creativity to compose business strategies that inspire action and growth. Your website is awesome. I went on there to tool around, and it's sequentlearning.com, which Sequent is SEQUENT, and then learning.com. Now, can you get a book if you go to your website? Can you order this book online?
You can. So on that website, that's the website of the company that I'm part of, and we do training and consulting and strategy and product management and marketing. So that website, you can buy the book either from us, or you can buy it from Amazon as well, so we have a link there.
Okay.
And then I also have a website for the book called composingstrategy.com.
Oh, yeah.
And from there you can actually get links to my personal website, and there you can see examples of my music and all kinds of other things as well.
And what I loved about being on Sequent Learning, because I've got to find out more about this, and you have just a whole year coming up scheduled in different places around the country giving seminars, and I'm going to try to be at the St. Louis seminar that you're giving in, I believe it's in June or July. I think it's in July,
that
actually.
Would be great.
And
That's wonderful.
I will, walk up and say hi. I really want to go to that, and I'm going to make that my goal to get there and meet you in person, because this is such a change. This is a change. You can completely change the way that you operate by getting this book and reading it and applying the strategies. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Bob Caporale. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great talking to you.
You bet. See you in St. Louis, buddy.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye-bye.